Hi Cancer, welcome to your month ahead Horoscope for February 2020 with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and this resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website addressed below. If you haven't got your Mindset, Magic or Tribal Tuesday seat yet, you can do so on the link in the description box below. And on the 1st of February, 1st of this month that this video is for, I am holding a webinar for aligning with and activating your purpose. You can do so on the link in the description box below. It is just £11. So if you want to get on that, do so now. I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So I should have said us. Let's have a look what February has in store for you, my lunar brothers and sisters. And this month you get the Eight of Swords as your actions and interactions with the world at large. Now, the Eight of Swords can be about constriction and confinement, right? The usual things that we talk about when we see this card. But for me, one of the really deep meanings of this card is actually about being in something for the long haul. And your actions and interactions with the world at large is what you do, right? So this month, Cancer, you're basically saying, what is it that I want to be in it for the long haul with? What is it that I am willing to put my time and energy into? And the reason I feel like this is coming through is because there's a part of you that understands that you're ready for your next stage, you're ready for your next step or the next level, so to speak, right? You're ready for your glow up. And the feeling that I get from this card is you're asking yourself, where is it that I really am ready to tie myself to something? And more importantly, where is it that I've been tied to something that I am now ready to release? I kind of feel like what's happening here is this kind of sliding scale. And the reason I say that is because the eights, the number 8 in general, is very much about power dynamics. And this month you're saying to yourself, right, I know I have a rough idea of where it is that I want to be next, what it is that I want to do. I understand how much time and energy and effort it's going to take me to get there. But what's really, really important is, where am I wasting or bleeding energy? Where is it that I am telling myself that I'm stuck, but I really am not, that it is a choice for me to give my power away in some way, shape or form. And it feels like this month you're actually going to take it back. For a lot of you, this may not necessarily have any physical actions or steps. It may very well just be drawing back and bringing back your mental energy, because it is a swords card, right? This is all about your intellect, mental energy, your ideas, you know, even the way that you speak. This is very much this month, Cancer. I kind of feel like we're going backward. It's almost like, and not in a bad way, but it's almost like this month you're going to start to pull your energy back from things and people that are basically taking up attention space, you know, so that you can start to divert that energy into the things that you really want and the things that you really want and believe that you're supposed to do or supposed to be a part of. In your money and materials, you've got the Five of Cups. Not a great card. Because it usually talks about loss. Very often it can talk about grief or grieving. The fact that it is the Five of Cups as well, it asks you, especially right next to this Eight of Swords, where is it that you need to cut your losses? You're being asked to really observe that, right next to the Eight of Swords. So this, we've talked about, where is it that something in your life is taking up too much power and that you now know that you can free yourself. The Five of Cups is saying, whatever it is that's been spent in that place, whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's resources, whether it's energy, whether it's mental energy, this is the time for you to cut your losses, literally cut your losses and run. This is the time for you to leave it behind. Now, if you look at the card there, he's got the 3 cups in front and he's having a bit of a moment because it's like, really, I can't believe I'm going through this. But if you look behind him, there's still 2 cups full. So one of the taglines for this card is, don't cry for spilt milk. The fact that it comes with that Eight of Swords, this is really telling you, whatever it is that you've lost, just let it go. Because if you go over it and over it in your mind, you then get into that whole dogmatic way of thinking of, oh, you know, if I'd done this or if I'd let go sooner and It's wasted time, it's wasted energy. Release it now so that you can, and look at what you have left, right? Rather than thinking about what it is that you've given or what it is that you've lost. Be really present this month when it comes to your money, when it comes to your finances. This is a time for you to get focused around those things. Your communications with the world at large, you have the Page of Cups. Now, Mercury is retrograde in Pisces this month. As of the 9th of March, which is a really interesting one. And the fact that this is in your communication sector, it really does feel for me like you will be feeling this energy. The problem is you're picking up what is, kind of other people's stuff, because Mercury retrograde in the sign of Pisces, even though it's retrograde, it's still offering a trine energy. Whether this is your sun, moon or ascendant sign, it's still offering that harmonious energy. The fact that it's retrograde means that you get a chance to reassess something, to reevaluate something. And the fact that you've got the Page of Cups, which is a very Pisces ruled card, in your communications, this could be bringing something back into the fold. It could be bringing something back from, not necessarily from antiquity, but it could be bringing something back for you to really re-examine. And the fact that you've got this Page of Cups, you might be able to this month, because you've got this right next to the Five of Cups, right? I'm going to talk about the numbers in just a second. This month you could really find that you have the ability, the patience to really have those difficult conversations, to talk about things that you might have thought, you know what, I can't talk about that, or maybe now's not the time. This month you have the time. This month you can go into some of the deeper, heavier conversations, and it will go your way, because this Mercury retrograde is giving you that reassessment, reevaluation energy, but it's coming through a trine, which allows you to really talk about some of the deeper stuff, or some of the stuff that you've felt like you had to ignore. Do you know what I mean? So look at this, right? The Page of Cups brings you 1, and the Five of Cups is right next to it. So that's 6 cups in general, in total. The Six of Cups itself talks about the past. It talks about memories. It talks about memory lane. This really does feel for me, Cancer, like this month you're having some big conversations about past things, about antiquities. For some of you, you might have things that you've never shared with anybody this month that you really finally feel ready to divulge to somebody, that you really feel ready to talk about. For some of you, this could be you having a difficult conversation with a family member, with a partner, with a friend, but this is somebody that's very close to you. It's not going to be somebody that's just kind of like an acquaintance or anything like that. This will be very likely someone that is, inner circle close, and you'll be able to have this conversation and it will be received really well. It's kind of like they might be a bit emotional about it, because everyone's going to be. But there might be this, you know what, I'm glad we had this. There's very much a heart-to-heart kind of energy around your communications this month. And like I said, I just get this sense that you're able to talk about some of the more difficult or heavier stuff that may have been hanging around in the background there. So in your love and relationships, you've got the King of Cups. So this is basically all water and air this month. So it's all emotions and communications and ideas. For those of you that are single, the King of Cups is coming in, but it is right next to the Page of Cups. I have to say this, just be sure this month that whatever is being sold is actually something that you want to buy, and not a gold bar, not a bar of chocolate coins, chocolate coins. Looks shiny and gold on the outside. When you open it up, you just got a lump of chocolate. Whatever it is, or whoever it is that comes into your life over the course of the next, I want to say 6 weeks. I don't feel like it's just limited to February. So that's the message this week, or this month even. Just be very wary of who it is that comes into your space this month. If you're single, because the chances are you could be seeing them just in the light that they're painting themselves, which is always going to be the best light. And it does suggest to me that this person either has a bit of a past or has more baggage than they're letting on. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? And this is the thing, we all have baggage. It's just about asking yourself how much of that you're willing to help somebody carry, all right? For those of you that are partnered, this King of Cups basically says that you guys are really starting to look at how you connect, and you might be starting to ask yourself, are we definitely on the same page? This isn't about gearing up to end a relationship. It really feels for me like a diagnostic on the relationship. What do you feel? What do I feel? What is there that we need to talk about that we maybe haven't, broached as a subject? You could have some of these more difficult conversations this month, and where, like I said, everybody's usually like, I kind of feel like because of that trine energy, it really gives you the ability to have these conversations, but in an easy, freer sort of way. So with the weeks of the month, let's have a look, see what's good coming up. First week of the month, you've got the Hanged Man, right? Interestingly enough, this really is, so your Hanged Man card, aside from all of its other meanings, can sometimes be where it is that you are choosing to be a martyr. This falling right underneath that Eight of Swords with everything that we talked about, this really feels like a very clear message for me. This first week of February, this is where you start to make the cuts. This is where you start to really say, right, okay, this is taking up too much of my time, and it is somewhere that I've probably given way more than I should have, and it is time for me to start withdrawing my energy. And you know, it's kind of like one of those things, if you're not really prepared to fix it, you don't really have the right to moan about it. I mean, that's just my way of looking at things. I'm very much in that respect, I'm very much an Aquarian, because I am an Aquarius sun. And my whole thought process behind all of this is, if you're not prepared to do what you need to do to fix it, don't just sit and moan about it, because that's such a wasted energy, right? So this first week of the month, this is where you could really be looking at your own martyr complex and saying to yourself, you know what? I'm going to stop whinging about this and just get it done, all right? Whatever that means to you. Your second week of the month, you have the Star card. So there is hope, right, for the finances. This actually, it really does suggest that actually over the long term, finances are definitely going to improve. So if you look at this year, instead of looking at it month by month, start to think further afield, start to think broader and bigger in terms of continued forward progression and effort, and also results and rewards. So there is hope for the finances, but this month it's kind of like you're just going to have to look at things the way that they are, and where it is that you're tied to a group, an association, possibly even family members maybe, or a social circle. This is basically saying, you know, where you need to cut your losses and run. Whatever it is that the bottomless pit that keeps swallowing your finances or your money is, it's time for you to acknowledge that you need to stop throwing money at the problem and just deal with it and kind of cut your losses and run. Your third week of the month, you have the Tower card right underneath that Page of Cups. So for those of you that have children, there could be a big realization when it comes to children this month. It could very well be maybe your kid or your children come out with something that really kind of is like, oh, okay, I didn't realize you were already thinking about that sort of thing. The fact that it is the Tower though, and we talked about your communications this month, for those of you that don't have children, like I said, this is very much for me like you're having those big conversations. Through those conversations, through those sort of, some of them could be ground shattering, but in the best way. You know, sometimes when you have a heart-to-heart with someone, or you have that big conversation, you come away from it like, wow, if we hadn't talked about this, I never would have known how you feel. I never would have known what you think. I never would have known what your big picture is compared to mine. So really, you know, be prepared to open up the dialogue, and be prepared to be shocked this month by what you learn and how you can proceed with what you learn. All right, it's not always doom and gloom whenever you see the Tower card. And then your fourth week of the month, you've got the Judgment card. So for some of you, sorry to say, but this could be an ex, it could be somebody coming back from your past, it could be a family member who kind of goes through the same sort of pattern, the same sort of process, and then ends up back at your door, either cap in hand or heart in hand, like, you know, woe is me. This month, Tower card right next to the Judgment card, this could be you calling them out and just saying, look, you know what, I love you dearly, but let's look at the root causes of this stuff, and let's look at the patterns and the cycles you seem to go through, and then expect me to pick up the pieces. This could be you very, very, almost very insistent that they listen to you this time. And like I said, because of that energy, I feel like you're almost like readily available to have these conversations, and rather than it being met with resistance, it may very well be that this month it's kind of like, okay, you know what, yeah, you're actually right. Because the feeling I get from it is this person may very well be sick of their own bullshit, and so now they're kind of like, actually, you know what, I really do want to do something about this, which is a good energy, right? That's a good thing. For those of you that are single, for those of you that are partnered, I feel like exes may be back in the picture this month. You know, the retrogrades tend to bring that stuff. Just wait till we get to the Venus retrograde. Ooh, that's gonna be some shit. I'm in your Venus specials, don't worry. So with that said, your key to the month is the Temperance card. Interesting, because this came up for Gemini as well in a different deck in the same position. So your key to the month, again, all things in balance, but where something has gone too far one way, you're going to have to allow the pendulum to come back. This really is a month for you to address things. The meaning of events or situations will arise. That will show itself regardless. Your job is just to allow it to happen. You know, it looks like the spirit world or the universe is looking to do a grand course correct in your life in some respect. And this month, my advice to you is, Hanged Man, get out of your own way and just allow it to happen. All right. And finally, your bloody hell. So your leap year message, because we've got the 29th of Feb this month, right? So your leap year message is the Hermit card. Interestingly enough, these are exactly the same cards that came up for Gemini. The only difference is I used a different deck for one of them. So the fact that it's come up again, it's kind of a very similar message, right? I mean, look, you've got Temperance and the Hermit together. This is about meaning. It's about spirituality. It's about finding that inner balance and bringing the inside out and bringing the outside in. The fact that you've got the Hermit card as your message for the 29th of Feb, or as your leap year message, what you're being asked to do is bring your inner wisdom forward and ultimately start to course correct, start to do things in a way that is actually going to be more self-serving and more self-directive, and especially for Cancerians, because usually, like, Cancerian energy is very much about nurturing and nourishing others. This is the month of the year where you're going to really have to learn to do that for yourself, right? This is a month for you to be selfish. A couple of signs have had that message this month, so very, very interesting indeed. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care. I'll see you soon.